everybody. Thanks for joining me for a look at our work week forecast and also details on today's showers that are coming through this morning, and a pretty significant front and some gusty winds and snow squalls that'll happen this afternoon. Some very cold temps overnight. The weather gets much more tranquil for the rest of the week after today and tonight, but we will have some pretty interesting weather today. Let's take a quick look at radar to see what's going on out there. You can see we're kind of in between. We've had kind of where the showers associated with a warm front that moved through, and then a cold front is approaching from the west. You can see there's some pretty good return echoes on that. That'll roll through here late morning to around noon, and it will bring with it some briefly heavy rain, some gusty winds with the not quite thunderstorms. I don't think we'll get any rumbles of thunder, but if it was a little later in the spring, we'd probably be looking at some thunder and lightning with this as well. Not quite going to happen yet. Then after that, you can't see them yet, but eventually we'll see some snow squalls kind of developing as a real cold piece of air moves in our direction, basically for one day. Temperatures, you can see we got some real contrast here. We're in the low to mid 30s. Across Vermont, we're in the 40s across most of New York, and you can see even 50s trying to spike up along the western spine of the Green Mountains. But up to our northwest, you can see the beginnings of that real cold air, and that is going to be quickly rushing in as the front moves through for tomorrow specifically. We're going to get one day of kind of very cold weather. So in terms of the details for what that looks like today, off and on showers during the morning. Front moves through with a quick downpour and gusty winds around noon or maybe just a little bit before. Frequent wind gusts this afternoon to 45 miles an hour. There is a small chance of some power outages. I think they would be pretty isolated and they'd be brief because there won't be that many of them. But it is possible for a few tree limbs to come down this afternoon. Several rounds of brief snow squalls are possible anytime after 3 p.m. That basically through probably late evening. During any of those squalls, roads could become briefly slick and visibility could drop to near zero. Very cold for March overnight with wind chills dropping to 20 below zero by morning tomorrow. So one really cold night. It will get much better throughout the week, although we're going to be relatively cool this week. As we head into look at the rest of the week, I just wanted to take this chance to remind you that if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. It just gives you, lets you know when my videos come out so that you don't miss them, so you can keep up with what's going on with the weather, and also helps more people discover in Southern Vermont discover what I'm up to with the forecast here, so we can enjoy exploring the weather together. So satellite, you can see our front here, and you can see just kind of a secondary Arctic front. That's going to be the leading edge of that air, and with that will come it'll bring through some snow squalls. The snow squalls will let up overnight, and by tomorrow morning, I think any flurries, there might be a few flurries around still, but we'll even start to be getting somewhat sunny. If we look at the upper level pattern, we can see we've been in this ridge. We're going to get this one quick, and you can see this is relatively small, and this is progressive at the moment. This piece of energy is going to swing through. We're going to briefly try to rebuild the bridge, but what's going to happen is these two pools of cool air, this kind of Arctic, you could call this the polar vortex on some level, and this little piece of it, they're kind of going to do a dance. And this storm is going to swing through, come out to sea, start to pull north again, and then it's going to kind of back. It's going to do what's called retrograding, back across us, give us what, in some regards, sometimes it's called the backdoor front. It's not necessarily classically entirely that, but it will push it will push some cooler air at that point associated with this piece of cool air aloft from basically Quebec down into our area. So even though a lot of the central and southeastern part of the United States is going to be warming up real good, we're going to stay cool for the second half of the week. And you can see there's plenty of cold air associated with this. Across the United States, we're relatively seasonal across a lot of the central parts of the country, but pretty warm across the eastern two-thirds. But across Canada here, this is not radically cold for this time of year, but that's a relatively cold and big pool of cold air. And so a lot of that, we're going to tap into some of that throughout a bunch of the week. So in terms of the work week forecast, this is what that looks like. I talked about today already, so I won't give any more details on that, but you can see today's the interesting day. Tomorrow, we start off cold, like I said, wind chills below 20 below zero to start the day. Temperatures actually around zero, maybe a couple degrees above zero probably. Winds will gust to 25 miles an hour tomorrow, so it'll still be breezy tomorrow. Wind chills will be cold, probably below zero or near zero all day, as we only get up to about 20. But then we do warm up significantly for Wednesday. The ridge tries to build back in briefly. We get a mix of sun and clouds. Warmer light winds will be in the upper 30s. Definitely the warmest day. It'll feel a little bit like a spring skiing day on Wednesday. Thursday, we don't start too cold, but like I said, that front from the kind of that backdoor front heads back in our direction. We don't get really any clouds associated with it. It will be mostly sunny. The winds will be light. However, we will be in the upper 20s basically for high temperature. So chilly-ish on Thursday, and then Friday even a little bit cooler than that on Friday. We're only going to be in the low 20s for highs. It's a pretty. It'll be a nice ski day on Friday, but you'll need to bundle up like it's midwinter. So, and then the weekend looks, just as a quick preview, the weekend looks relatively chilly as well. Doesn't look like any major warm-ups till maybe the second half of next week. Although we're definitely starting to get primed for a pattern flip to the point where we would get some warm air in here for at least compared to what we've had. So. If you're going to be out and about today, just keep an eye on those winds, and specifically this afternoon, watch out for those strong snow squalls. Travel could briefly be hard if you see those. So sometimes in a snow squall, best thing you can do is actually just pull the car over if you see them. They usually pass within 15 minutes, and visibility comes right back up, and the road tends to clear out relatively quickly as well. But in the midst of one of those, you can go from dry roads to very hard to travel in a couple minutes. So sometimes it's worth it to just pull off the road for a few minutes and wait it out instead of trying to drive through it, because it can briefly get very, very slippery and very hard to see. So otherwise, thanks for joining me for my forecast this morning. Quick shout out to my patrons who help support what I do here. Really appreciate them. And also the rest of you who pay attention to the forecast. If you've got any thoughts or questions, feel free to make comment in YouTube, or you can comment on social media, or certainly you can reach out to me by email, and I'm happy to answer any specific questions you have for me. Okay? We will see you all on Friday for my work week forecast. My patrons get an early look at the weekend forecast. Patrons get a quick early preview of that on Wednesdays. So if you want a Wednesday look at the weekend forecast, become a patron at any level, and you'll get a chance to see that. Okay, thank you.